Hey guys, Scott here. Today we're going to go over patch 7.0, which is coming out, I think, in a month and a half, once it's off PTB. I skimmed this briefly, and it seems like the best patch this game has ever had. I'm insanely excited for it. I just read some of it, but let's just go over exactly what they. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see. All right, let's go over what they've actually changed. So first off, huge, Bloodlust has been removed. Bloodlust was a mechanic intended to help alleviate some earlier issues with map design, but most of these problems have been addressed, so the mechanic has been rendered unnecessary. This is something that people have been requesting for a while. The thing is, Bloodlust has been a necessary evil because a lot of maps are so badly designed that you need a basic handicap mechanic to allow you to, be able to down people at certain setups, like Haddonfield, for example. Like the House of Pain without Bloodlust is like, it takes forever. So the fact that they're so confident that they fixed these maps, that they don't need Bloodlust anymore, is both scary and very exciting at the same time. But let's go on. Completely designed the loop money system. For those of you guys who know, the loop money system is basically tiles have certain weighting to them. Actually, no, they explain it here. The system has been in place for our random map generation for many years, and it was supposed to ensure extremely strong setups could not randomly spawn. Obviously, this was not the case, and we've addressed the value of random tiles in a more accurate manner. For example, long wall jungle gyms have had their strength weighting increased from 1.2 to 2.0. In comparison, an LT wall, it's TL wall, you heathens, have been decreased from 1.0 to 0.8. So I'm not, I get what these numbers mean. I just don't know what they're, I don't get what they're exactly, how they're implemented. But basically what they're saying is they're now weighting certain tiles stronger than others. So for example, a long wall jungle gym is now more heavily weighted than it used to be, which is good, because it shows that the devs are acknowledging that certain tiles are just simply stronger than others, and you can't generate maps assuming that these tiles are all the same strength. So this is actually really important and a really, 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 really good change that should hopefully make things a bit more balanced when maps are being randomly generated. In addition to a more accurate measurement of randomly generated tiles, we've also implemented checks in place that prevent multiple strong tiles from chaining into each other, as the loot money system ensures the value is spread evenly across the map. That is very good. This means that certain notorious setups like the shack tile connecting into several other structures cannot or should not occur. This is still somewhat experimental, so please bear with any exceptions. Yeah, so this shows that they really understand, like at the high level, one of the main issues in the game is chaining tiles together. And in the hands of a very good survivor, this is why maps like Fractured Cowshed are so ridiculous, because you can have the shack that's connected to a tile that's connected to another tile, and you can chain all these together with like zero pallet usage. It's ridiculous. So the fact that they're acknowledging this is actually huge. The effects for the perk Kindred have now become base kit. The effects has now? Shouldn't it be have now? The effects of the perk Kindred has now become a baseline feature. In our ongoing attempts to bridge the difference between solo queue and survive with friends, we hope the base ore rating of Kindred will minimize the gap without imposing too much additional power to survivors. The perk Kindred now grants all survivors an 8% increase in generator repair speeds, while the killer remains within 12 meters of the hook survivor. That's interesting. So it's actually like, now by default, you can see your teammates which are on the hook. So it's not going to benefit survive with friends at all, but it'll benefit solo queue players who frankly kind of get screwed over quite a bit. And now if you see a Bubba face camping the guy, you actually all get a generator increase speed, or a speed increase, if you're actually using the perk Kindred rather than the baseline feature. That's actually pretty interesting. I kind of like that change. So it de-incentivizes camping because they'll do the gens even faster then. That's interesting. All hooks in the basement are now considered scourge hooks. This one is, that's a pretty obvious one. I don't know why they didn't at to begin with. It's like the basement that's supposed to be like the worst place to be hooked. So I think by default they should be scourge hooks. So that's a great change. This is huge. Boon totems cannot be relit within 60 seconds of them being destroyed by the killer. So this makes it actually kind of worth it to destroy now. Go 5 seconds out of your way to break a totem. Whereas before it would make no sense, because as you break it and go chase someone, another guy just comes and sets it back up again and you've accomplished nothing. So the fact that there's now like a little bit of, I guess it's going to do like an entity block on it, that little animation. So I think it's a good idea, especially when you're in like a smaller 3-gen setup. Not being able to reset a totem for a full minute is pretty significant. So I still hate boon totems, but I think that's a pretty good concession. So that's not bad. Self-healing speeds have been capped. This is literally like I made this. You can no longer have more than 100% increased self-healing speed by any means. This means you can never heal yourself faster than 8 seconds under any circumstances. This new cap does not apply to the healing of others. So I literally made a video exactly about this, as like this is one of the main problems. Like, you shouldn't be able to self-carry yourself in 4 seconds by stacking, like, Circle of Healing and a green medkit. That's just silly. You should not be able to do that. So it seems like that is now the case. Now, 8 seconds is 100% increased speed. So that's still like Circle of Healing. You still get the full benefit. I think it just means you can't stack Circle of Healing and a green medkit and body knowledge and like all that shit now. So that's great. I could not have asked for anything better. Added a concede match feature. This feature may be used by survivors when a survivor disconnects or dies within the first 2 minutes of any match. All remaining players must agree to end the match. This counts as a loss for the survivors, who receive 3,000 concession blood points. The killer receives blood points equal to the remaining hook stages left on all survivors in the trial, and the game is considered a win for the killer. This feature may be used by the killer after 5 minutes of match time if they have under 5 hook states. This is intended to be a genuine concession, not an I give up feature, so there are some requirements in place to ensure players do not give up too easily. This is actually a really good idea, because I always feel so bad when, like, it's a, I have someone down with 5 gens up, then they disconnect, and then it's a 3v1 with 5 gens up. Like, they can't win that shit. It's impossible. So the fact that they can now concede instead of having to drag out a doomed match, I think is a really good idea. And the killer still gets blood points as if he hooked all those people as well. That's a really, really good idea, and I'm surprised they haven't added something like this earlier. Additionally, like, it seems like if you're getting stomped too, so if it's been 5 minutes, you've given it a solid 5 minutes, and like, there's like 1 gen left and you got 1 hook, you can just say, all right, yeah, I'm not winning this, because yeah, in that scenario, you're not winning that. So I like how they said this too, where you still have to kind of play the game. You can't just press give up immediately and then the match is over, because that wastes everyone's time. You still have to give it some type of effort, but you don't have to suffer when the outcome is very clear. That's like perfect. Added a map ban system for killers. Killers can now select 2 realms. Am I dreaming? What the fuck? Killers can now select 2 realms to never be randomly selected. Map offerings can still force the map for either side. This change is intended to help certain killers who are very map dependent, and it should not hamper survivors' play, as survivors are usually minimally affected by the map, as their core mechanics are all the same. I could not agree more. I'm really curious what the interface of this is going to be, but that is awesome. Killers now receive a 25% bonus to the total blood points for each survivor in a single group. For example, 2 survivors in 2 groups would yield 50% bonus, while a full... Okay, so it's saying if you have like 2 separate groups of 2-mans, then you get a 50% bonus, because the highest single group is 2 people. But if you have a full 4-man, then you get basically double blood points. This is intended to reward killers for enduring the additional challenge that comes with communication of survivors. That's awesome. I can't imagine a single person's going to complain about that. Perk tiers have been completely removed. Back when we first launched the game, we needed a money sink for blood points, and perk tiers were a good way to do that. Now there are far too many perks to justify 3 ranks of all of them, so we simply have made all perks their current tier 3 forms. Enjoy the extra blood points. About time, man. It's about time. There are so many perks in this game, and the grind is ridiculous. What a good... Is this actually real? Like, what the fuck? Okay, let's keep going. Added additional measures to detect impossibilities done by cheating. While this is not foolproof, these measures should detect basic things like enhanced movement speed or having more than 4 perks. Unfortunately, it's nearly impossible to prevent all forms of cheating, but this is an ongoing process that we will not stop improving. That's fair. I mean, there's pretty much no game that has no cheating. I just think it's too easy to cheat in this game, but it seems like they're implementing some countermeasures, which is good. But I do agree with them that at the end of the day, you can't stop cheating. It's like almost impossible. So I think that's a good start. We'll see what that actually, if it actually works or not. But all extremely large maps have had their size greatly reduced. This includes maps such as Mother's Dwelling and Crotus Brand Asylum. Large maps have been problematic for a very long time, as they incentivize the very uninteractive run straight playstyle many players have adapted to. Very true. We hope by shrinking large maps, the strategy will not be as effective, as players will run into a map boundary far quicker if they choose to run directly straight. This change all serves to bridge the gap between killers with strong movement abilities and those without. This change all serves to bridge? Seems like a weird sentence. Yeah, awesome. Many of these changes are attempts to address the fundamental flaws Dead by Daylight has had for quite some time. We've taken years of feedback and consolidated it into these changes that we hope will leave the game in a far more balanced spot. Damn. I completely agree with basically everything on this list. I guess these are killer changes now. Legion. Post-fire fatigue is reduced from 4 to 3 seconds. Good. He needs that. For each survivor hit during a frenzy, the Legion's movement speed increases by 10% and their tear radius increases by 8 meters. Huh. So if you hit like 2 survivors, then you go 20% faster and you have 48 meter tear. Oh, so like the detection range is increased and you can get to them faster. Legion's been underperforming in all skill levels. Survivors keen on spreading out will have rendered their power weaker, so the changes to frenzy will offer the Legion better detection of distant survivors, as well as increased movement speed to get to them. Additionally, the increased speed of recovery after a frenzy will allow the Legion to get a follow-up hit easier. That's cool. I had a whole rework thing where like I had like a disguise thing where you disguise as a survivor and lose your tear radius. The effect was losing your tear radius. The disguise was a cosmetic, just a cool effect. But that, I mean, it seems like a pretty good concession, honestly. I think I think that's fine. Like, it's not like amazing or anything. He's still probably not going to be great if survivors spread out, but I think that's a pretty nice change. Hillbilly, remove the overheat mechanic. Fuck yeah, okay. Yeah, so there's add-ons that deal with that, though. Pig House Gloves change the effect. The chainsaw no longer collides with the environment, much like Oni's Demon Rush. What is it? I thought it was Demon Dash. Is it Rush or Dash? I don't know. The restricted turning still remains. This will allow skilled hillbillies to curve around objects in a safer manner. Interesting. That's kind of cool for a purple add-on. And then Junkyard Air Filter. I don't even know what that did. It was probably an overheat add-on. Now increased 5% recovery speed. All right, so just cooldown. That's fine. After over a year with the overheat mechanic, we found the mechanic to be unnecessary. The real strength of the original hillbilly came from stacking cooldown and charge speed add-ons, so the overheat mechanic was redundant when those add-ons were removed. Completely agree. It's like McLean's spirit is now buffing Billy again. The shape. Stock speed is now increased the further the target is away rather than decreased. Survivors who have been fully stalked are now permanently visible when the shape is in tier 3. I guess that means their auras are permanently visible. While in tier 3, the shape recovers from stuns 50% faster and breaks pallets 20% faster. These effects do not stack with the perks Enduring and Brutal Strength. We wanted to home in on the stalker aspect that has made Michael Myers so iconic. As such, stalking survivors from a distance will now grant evil within at a far faster rate, as it made no thematic sense to stalk survivors who were immediately nearby. True. Additionally, the more Myers stalks a survivor, he will eventually be able to know everything about them and see their auras while in tier 3. It's auras. So we hope these changes will improve the theming of the shape as well as improve their strength. That's awesome. That's actually very similar to suggestions that I've had for this killer. So that is very, very cool. I'm not sure how much better this will make him, but I mean, it seems like at the very least, this is just an objective buff. He can kind of like brute force some shit now. That's kind of cool. The pig. The first puzzle box never contains the key to remove reverse bear trap. Interesting. Increase the movement speed of the pig by 10% while crouching. That's significant. The roar sound effect now plays once the dash has already begun, not when it's starting. Sorry, pigs who like to spam roar. Oh, God. Pig nerfed. Pig has been very reliant on luck to perform well, so we've decided to add... That's a typo. Dissected. Haha. To add a small amount of bad luck protection for her. As such, the first puzzle box will never contain the key that lets survivors remove the reverse bear trap. Odds remain the same past the first box. This is intended to fix the scenarios in which the pig's reverse bear traps essentially do nothing if the survivors are lucky. Good. Additionally, we have increased the speed of the pig while she's in stealth to incentivize that aspect of her kit more. Previously, she moved a bit too slowly to warrant walking around the map in the crouched form. I agree. You move slow as shit in that, so that's actually really nice. That'll actually make her stealth not a giant waste of time. That's awesome. Deathslinger, damn, movement speed increased to 115%. Normal movement speed. After removing the Instascope feature that many had an issue with, we neglected to give the Deathslinger any compensation. As such, she now moves at a normal killer movement speed. I feel like that's a lazy change, but also a welcome one. Like, I think I'm okay with that. Because there are, like, ranged killers now that have, like, Crow Lady, the artist. She now has ranged attacks, and she has normal movement speed, so it's not like the archetype where if you have a ranged attack, you have to move slow now. Hell, Pyramid Head with double range add-ons is basically like a short range killer as well, almost like Deathslayer, and he's got normal movement speed too, so I think that's fair. Ghostface, improved reveal logic. This one is fairly simple yet very complicated. All players should be aware of is the reveal mechanic should now be more responsive for both sides. You should not be revealed behind walls, and you should be revealed in the open. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. Okay, I'll believe it when I fucking see it. The Oni, Scalp Top Knot, reduced Demon Dash duration. I feel like I've already seen this. Didn't they already do this? I thought they already nerfed this. Maybe not. Or maybe like they went back on it or they changed the values. I'll have to check on that. I could have sworn they already changed that. Huh. That's weird. Survivor perks. Perk balancing. Left behind. In addition to the hatch reveal mechanic, your movement speed is increased by 7%. Okay, so if you're the last survivor, you basically just get hope. That's cool. Technician. Remove the regression penalty for missing a skill check. Yeah, I don't know why it had that to begin with. Technician right now, you have a penalty for missing skill checks, which was really, really weird. I don't know why that was like that. No Wither. You now start the trial healthy, but can never be healed once injured. This is a change to No Wither people have been requesting for a really long time. So basically, the killer doesn't know you have No Wither until they actually hit you, and then they see you're broken. So that's actually kind of cool, and you actually can tank that first hit without having that huge penalty. Obviously, the killer's not going to slug you once they realize you have it, but you get an extra hit now with No Wither, which is kind of huge. That's a really nice buff. Might actually be worth running. Flip-flop, remove the range requirement. I didn't even know there was a range requirement to flip-flop. You heal survivors on the ground 20% faster. Okay. So it was like a help your friends that are slug perk, and it's kind of got like a mini we're going to live forever now. So that's cool. And they remove range requirements. It's probably still not going to see use, but whatever. Kindred, while the killer remains within 12. Okay, this is what they set up there. So we know what the Kindred changes. Decisive Strike now becomes disabled when booting a totem. That one was obvious. I think that was more an oversight than an actual buff or a nerf. That's just a change. That's when you cleanse a totem, it's supposed to disable that. So you're basically cleansing a totem. That's good. Circle of Healing now grants 75% increased healing speed down from 100%. I think that's reasonable. It's still incredibly fast, but I think that's an acceptable nerf. I still hate the perk, but that's fine. Killer perks. Beast of Prey. After chasing a survivor for 15 seconds, that survivor can no longer... Oh, because Bloodlust is gone. They have to change this. That survivor can no longer see your stain until you successfully hit them with a damaging attack. Huh. So that was the original duration to get Bloodlust. But now they can no longer see your stain until you hit them. So that means it lasts like the entire match until you actually hit them. So you could actually chase someone for 15 seconds and go chase someone else, and you'd still have it on that original survivor. It could be interesting. I'd still prefer moonwalking, but that's kind of interesting. It's definitely better than it used to be. Predator. Scratches are now animated and flow in the direction survivors are running. Oh, cool. Additionally, scratches can now be seen through walls. Huh. That'll be good for indoor maps and tracking. Yeah, that'll actually be useful on indoor maps. On outdoor maps, it's not really going to do much. But yeah, like losing scratches through multiple hallways and Larry's, being able to see it through walls now and seeing which way exactly they're running. That's nice. I like that change. Predator might actually be a useful perk. Lightborn. Now no longer causes flashlight beams to not thin. This allows it to deceive players who think they're able to blind the killer. Oh, okay. So right now when you have Lightborn and you try to blind someone, your flashlight isn't thin, so you immediately know they have Lightborn and you stop trying to flash them. This makes it so they think that they're still blinding you, but you're not getting blinded. I actually like that a lot. That actually makes it useful as like a deceptive tool as well. That's really good. Good change. Strider no longer countered by Iron Will. Okay, so they just reverted that again. I guess because they changed Spirit, they decided to change that back. Makes sense. Huntress Lullaby no longer requires tokens. Always removes the sound effect of skill checks. Huh. So you just get that effect outright. That's pretty good. That actually is pretty good. I could see that being useful in a couple of builds. Huh. I feel like it's going to be rough on new players, but then again, new players are probably getting 5 stacks of it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. All these perks are severely underused, so we decided to increase their variability, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Bug fixes fix an issue that caused survivors to rarely make no sound while in dying state. Yeah, okay. Fix an issue that caused survivors to be unable to be picked up. Okay, yeah, like when they get stuck in the wall, that's really good. Fix an issue where Scott couldn't wake up. Wait, what?